left, right, out here March 4th. Sitting in my bed again doing this. Interesting things. Woke up last night to a semi-nuclear scare. So there's apparently some shelling. There's going on in the largest nuclear power plant. I mean, I'm sure you've already heard this because I'm doing this later in the day. And as far as we know, the Russian forces have taken it, and now it's secure. But there was a little bit of a scare there that there could be some radiation leaking there. In fact, some of the Ukrainians had reported that there was increased radiation levels, which doesn't seem to be the case. But anyway, just the battle still continues, right? And just like we've said, if we look at the map for today, it really hasn't changed that much. I don't know what's quite going on, but Russian forces from the South Crimea and the Donetsk region appear to have, I guess, converged in a sense. They've linked up territorially. And of course, you do have some on the west that are going up. Like I said, geographically, when you look at that river system and that kind of bisects, running southeast, and I just don't want to pronounce it because I'll butcher it, but I know some of those other gentlemen that have actually mentioned the same thing that I've been mentioning, that this is the geographical area that would make the most sense for the Russians to carve out, and it seems as though their forces are playing into that, and it's pretty safe to say tactically that that's what they're going to do, unless they're goaded into going west. But I just think that's what they're going to do. I know I've said that I was going to talk about these documents about the biolabs, and I just haven't had time to really go into it, but I'll give you some information if you want to look it up. Look up the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, look up the Cooperative Biological Engagement Program, obviously former Soviet republics. Look up the Lunger Center in Georgia, and then you can look up some of these other associated things that have happened within Ukrainian towns that are having to have biological labs, U.S. biological labs around them. Just do a little research on that, and you'll see you should be able to find some stuff. You might have to go off of Google and DuckDuckGo and DuckDuckGo it, but look up. There's things like Project Clear Vision. There's there's a bunch of stuff I've been going through, and then more recent times there's some other things that are going on, mainly at that Lunger Center, I believe. Anyway, you can check that out. Here's some other things here. So there's with this nuclear scare, and this is kind of I don't even think, maybe it was happening before that, but you have more of these warmongers. You got the Lindsey Graham types out there. You got this Kinzinger, whatever, the guy that was an anti-Trumper, calling for this no-fly zone. I'm telling you, my God, I understand, well, I don't know what their motives are. We can speculate on their motives, especially like a Lindsey Graham type. But you're talking about a kinetic war with another former superpower who has vast military capabilities. I've said it time and time again that this is not good. And I do want to say something else. I have, and many of my former Marines have friends that are there in Ukraine, and we wish them the best. And then when this first broke out, I just wanted to make sure that some of those guys were safe and some of their families are safe. But there seems to be an overwhelming egging on of people to go over there, and I'll be honest, I have that same feeling. And if I were to go over there, it'd be for humanitarian purposes, operating in a Poland to get refugees. That's the only thing I can say. But if you were trying to go over there to fight, even if you are a combat experienced U.S. veteran, I'd say this, that I wouldn't do it right now. We probably need you more than ever here than we do over there. And you think about the second, third order effects, like I keep talking about those things. When you go over there, let's say you have to get killed. Let's say something were to happen to you or somebody with you, and you could be affiliated with the U.S. What ramifications would that have on the global on what's going on right now? We should be working to de-escalate the situation rather than provoke further conflict. Plus, you'll be going over there. And granted, we know a lot about guerrilla warfare, and I think I've mentioned that here. This is what the Ukrainians should be implementing. Ricky Tick, they should have done it a few days, when the Russians really busted their lines and are encircling Kiev. But that's neither here nor there. And granted, I know we are now experts having faced that in the last 20 years, but you will not have the air support that you think you will have, and you will not have the ground support. And there's a chance, like I've said in the past, having been around the Ukrainian army in particular, like I said, their Marine Corps is rock solid, or they were solid guys, and a lot of the Ukrainian military is too, but there seems to be some sympathizers within their ranks, and I wouldn't put it past them to knock you off if you happen to be there. Which I know that you guys, if you probably experienced in Afghanistan, that kind of threat too. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, so we're not encouraging people, because it seems to be there's a lot of people being that want to do the right thing, and I understand it, and I do too. But we have to understand the strategic level ramifications of such actions. And like I said, we can do things to get women, children, and elderly out. But okay, let's go back a little bit further, and because I'm talking more of our domestic issues here. Now the markets, obviously, with this nuclear thing, they're down, and I don't know why they're not down even further, because you think about the uncertainty surrounding this, but they are down. And this is, like I said, this is giving a little bit of a reprieve for Powell. He's come out, he wants a quarter point, which, how is that going to stop anything? You're seeing the pump prices rise, you're seeing oil go up. Surprisingly, the 10-year is only it's pretty stable at 1.7 something. I'm surprised it hasn't gone further with people flocking. That's not good, in a sense that people aren't necessarily flocking to those safe assets. Gold and silver is going up, but okay. I just went off on a side tangent. Let's talk about this Graham thing. Lindsey Graham is a notorious war hawk, right? And this Kinzinger, he's calling for the assassination of Putin. Are you serious? He, of all people, should understand. If he doesn't remember, a number of years ago, and I have talked about this, the fact that Russia has deployed teams throughout the world in various locations, or I said throughout the world, so yes, various locations, and supposedly their mission is to gather intelligence on world leaders, and if they needed to, knock them off. Or at least this is how it was presented to me a number of years ago, the intel that we had on Russian assets throughout the world. So when they're calling this, I know I said, I think yesterday about Sean Hannity, but now you have senators, I implore you, and I'm going to read something here in a second, but that if we do such a thing, if we get involved in this, there's a reason why, I just was reading an article about why the Russians don't have air superiority, right? Which I believe they do in a vast part of it, and don't believe that, like I said yesterday, I went through why the Russian military is actually on time, if not ahead of time, in my opinion. And one of the reasons why you have these convoys that are stuck, you can't move around in the mud over there, you have to stay on the roads, which also lends, that's a weakness. I don't know why Ukraine's not exploiting those weaknesses. But anyway, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I believe the Russians are using their old assets first, and I think they're holding their Air Force in reserve in case you have Western intervention. So don't mistake this for weakness. And like I've gone over the propaganda, what you see going on is not necessarily what the facts are. Not necessarily just from the propaganda, but in war, everything is about deception and reality, right? So is your perception of what's going on really the reality? Probably not. I'm talking about from a command perspective. I'm looking at how the Russians play. Now I can go on about the propaganda. You had RT News getting taken down in all these countries, which they gave a valuable opinion. If you want to know your enemy, or if you want to know how to defeat them, you must understand them. So we cannot silence their speech. We need to understand them. We need to understand what they're thinking and what their report is, what they're reporting. Because somewhere in the middle is the truth. Because we know the West right now is this full-fledged full-fledged propaganda mode. I mean, they are lying out their devil asses at the moment, and I wish it wasn't so, because I love this country very much, but I see going along with the warmongering, to stay on that topic. I know I keep going off the side rails here, but to stay on that topic, I see a lot more people that are conducting absolutisms on social media. You're either for the Ukrainians, or you're for Putin, or you're this and that. We'll put the Ukrainian flag on there. They don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They have no idea. These are not angelic sides over there, okay? One is a super corrupt government that we implemented that has been used to launder money for various Western interests. Not to leave out the fact that even our own president and some of the other congressional members who have family members that have been doing nefarious things over there in this country. It's like a Western oligarch playground in Ukraine. And then you have the Russians, which are not saints themselves, and we know of their, megalomaniacal visions. And Putin's not an angel at all, and he's in an ideal world, he wouldn't be in power, right? But these people are egging on this war, acting like they're saints over there. Now, we all know of the Azov battalions, and we know of the Chechens that are coming. That clash of racial supremacy, right there, or religious ideologies. What I have seen though is a really barbaric, or almost a transmission of fear that has been taking us back, where we're banning Russian cats, and people are breaking windows of Russian restaurants. I mean, these are Americans, or I mean, those in this restaurant thing, they're Americans. I mean, the cat thing is just stupid. Taking Putin's judo belt away, that was hilarious. As if these have some sort of ramifications. Treating Russian U.S. citizens differently. I mean, why is the left doing this when they were the ones that were, supposedly people on the right were doing it to Muslims, but now it's okay to do it to the Russian citizens that have nothing to do with their government over there? I don't know. But anyway, so this radicalism is being fueled by the Western media and our own politicians. This driving to war. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of people who have done a lot more than I have in the service, and people that have been in combat, and it is the last thing you want to do. It is the last, I don't even know how to put it in other words of how horrific it is. How horrific, not only during, but afterwards. Once you cross that line, it's no going back with these guys, all right? So I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to leave you with this little thing. This is actually from the Marine Corps MCDP-1, war fighting, and just what they're talking about war. I'm just going to read you a little bit of paragraph. It's violence and danger, and these are the natures of war. And it says, war is among the greatest horrors known to humanity. It should never be romanticized. Emphasize that. Most of the warriors that are out there that have seen this stuff, some of my friends that I've seen devastated over having to take numerous lives, even if they're bad, or seeing young people, seeing innocent lives being taken in a wartime setting, it should never be romanticized. This means the means of war is force, applied in the form of organized violence. It is through the use of violence or the credible threat of violence that we compel our enemy to do our will. Violence is an essential element of war, and it is the immediate result of its immediate result is bloodshed, destruction, and suffering, and not just suffering in the military aspects. It will make us suffer, and it will make others. Right now, there are civilians suffering over this. While the magnitude of violence may vary with the object and the means of war, the violent essence of war will never change, and study of war that neglects this basic truth is misleading and incomplete. Since war is a violent enterprise, danger is ever present. And since war is a human phenomenon, fear, the human reaction to danger, has a significant impact on the conduct of war. Now, I don't know, I had some other thought about what was going on, but I just implore people that they have no idea the dimensions of war if we get involved with these guys. My God, we're already seeing economic turmoil over here now. Wait until you get into kinetic war with a adversary of that power. Now, the last thing, I totally forgot this. In India, we have to watch out what's going on over there too. All right. Well, one, they don't like their neighbors, Pakistan and stuff. That's nuclear. But I'm talking about their dialogue with the Russians. We could be pushing India over towards them, which is terrifying. Not only you push them to China, but you push another highly first world nation that's got a high population, that has sophisticated military capabilities, a nuclear capable into the Russian sphere. I'm wondering where the adults in the room were that we were promised when this administration took over. But and then also and here's the last thought on the warmongers. Remember what happened just in Afghanistan? Well, we never held anybody accountable in the leadership there. So these would be the same people planning and executing, or actually the people on the ground would be executing it, but the same people that are be planning and sending people to execute their plans on the battlefield. I don't necessarily want that at this moment. All right. Anyway, I appreciate the support. Like, subscribe. Talk to you later.